A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, 1989. It's not a good movie. I think it's quite telling that Part 6 was always conceived as being the final film in the franchise because I think probably because number 5 was such an underwhelming, unsatisfying turd that they just went, yeah, this is kind of, we're coming to the end of the road here, so let's just do one more, finish it off, and then that's it. I do think it was a bit of a franchise killer, actually. It is just very unsatisfying. I think basically it's a weak concept. This thing about the child is not necessarily inherently bad, but it's something that had to be handled in a more entertaining way than how they did it. For the target audience of teenage boys, stuff about children is just of zero interest. It's a very poor conceptual idea for the franchise. As for just as an idea for a movie, it's not great, but it's not terrible. But I think for A Nightmare on Elm Street, it really is just an unsatisfying, not very interesting idea. I think it was a poor choice anyway. Then you get a script that is just not good. Uh, there is a low body count. The, the script just isn't good. The movie itself just sort of sits there on the screen, not satisfying, not going anywhere, not being interesting. So I think you've got a questionable, weak concept, a badly executed script, and I think the direction is weak. I do not think Stephen Hopkins is a good director. The director is, I believe, a music video director with an extensive MTV background, and it does come across, nice production design, some pretty visuals, but weak on, proper storytelling. You give this rather questionable director a weak script and he's going to just flounder. This is not someone who's going to be able to overcome a weak script because he has such a great grasp on dramatic acting and storytelling. This is someone who really needs a solid script handed to him and told, shoot this word for word if you want to get good results. Because all he's really good at is pretty visuals. He really likes putting things in the foreground. An awful lot of shots have people or objects moving in the foreground, and it became almost comical just how much it happens, at least in a few scenes. Anyway, the movie just doesn't. It's hard to put your finger on precisely why it doesn't work, why it's so unsatisfying beyond just simply not working, just a weak script, weak direction. I get the impression it's a movie that is a little watched by people who are big fans of the franchise. I think it got quite heavily cut by the censors, so the handful of actual violent action sequences of the kills are trimmed down and a bit toothless, but that's censorship, so you can't blame the film itself for that, but that's unfortunate. Curiously enough, you think the main selling point of the movie is Freddy Krueger, so you would think the special effects and the makeup on him would be top notch. You don't go cheap and put second rate makeup on your lead actor in this situation, and yet I think the makeup on Freddy Krueger was very weak, very it looked simplified and not in a good way. So it's not a very good looking Freddy Krueger. At least he didn't laugh non-stop like he did in the fourth movie, which I found to be quite irritating. His laughing was a bit more restrained. The characters, not scary by this point. I would give the film 3 out of 10. It is unsatisfying, slightly dull, and just ineffective. I just don't think the movie amounted to anything, and I think it has very low rewatchability, and it's just not good.